The Revenge rocks in the water on a relatively calm day, and the clouds are overhead. The I just got the feedback of hearing myself at full volume. Sorry. Um, the crew is assembled, and for Runa, who is still a child at this point, there's always like sort of somebody to interrogate, somebody to fill her day with, kind of learning about what it is that they do on board the ship. Um, Sometimes that kind of comes back and bites her, such as like the day spent with Hardlaw, who is the disciplinarian of the ship, who mostly had her like doing exercises and climbing up and down the mast. Um, and the last time that it was Red's day, he had he had spent the day telling her about sirens and how they tore crews apart and were attracted to anything that spilled blood into the water, and left her like up in the crow's nest for the entire day, just kind of getting as far away from the surface of the ocean as she could. Um, and on calmer days, like Lucky would like teach her how to walk along the ship's sail and all the way out to the ends to like tie knots and things like that, and made sort of a marvel of how it was that he never fell. And he stuck close behind her and kept her from falling off, or when she did fall, it was into water and not onto the deck. Um, but today she has a close-up look at a Cernith knife, one that is uh it's got sort of like a very dark blue metal that looks almost purple in certain lights. And the entire thing seems to be forged from like a single piece. There's no, what you would come to recognize later as like hammer marks or signs of forging. Um, she's seen a few older like bronze weapons that are like poured out of molds. And in a lot of ways it looks similar, except she can't see any mold marks where they would have like filed away the small thin pieces. Um, and wisely, I didn't actually look up the name of her crewman beforehand. Um, Fid, Fid Blue Eye. Um, his blue eye is the entire like iris, sclera, all of it is the same kind of dark shade of blue that the blade itself is. And she's seen his eye at night sometimes when the stars were really dim. She could actually see it almost as if it had light of its own. Um, and the the sudden presence of it um, was sometimes startling, but sometimes something for her to get used to. Um, and but the Sid himself was always like himself, other than that she caught him like staring at the knife frequently as like nights went on, right? Um, and you know, under could see the crests, he could see the blue of the water. But when the other eye was covered and he was looking out through the dark blue one, the one that like had been stabbed in the eye with this knife, all he could see was the floor of the ocean. As distant as it was, he saw no water at all. And he could see the fish kind of like moving through it. He could see some of the creatures um, hiding amongst the reefs, but he couldn't see the water itself. And there were things like that, which were the only reason he didn't take his other eye with it, because he was worried that there would be things that he could no longer see, that he would miss seeing. There were times where the temptation was still upon him. And so we cut from this memory um, to a few hours before Runa had gone to uh, gone to work, so to speak, with Jera's and meeting for lunch, where she had come to Geralt's for breakfast. Um, and also because she wanted to ask about this knife. Um, and she finds him there with, the shop itself is open, but it's like there's never been people in it, like when she comes to visit. Perhaps because it's like a rarefied enough market. He doesn't really have any interest in window shoppers. And so instead he's got his journals sort of scattered across a number of different countertops. And he seems to be kind of cross-referencing some old notes and working on filling out a new journal as he does. And he looks up at Runa as the bell rings. Um, it's with a smile when he sees her. Like ever since he kind of learned the news, put it together, he has always smiled at seeing her. And he closes what he's doing. He pushes a few journals closed. She can see it looks like some of the notes of like the Rainbow Gate, and the things that he'd seen from down under the city, and the discoveries that have been made. He's writing as much of it as he can. So
I've been meaning to ask, can I get you to look at a blade I have? I want to know more about it.
says, I can't promise to tell you more, he says, but if I know something, I certainly will.
And she's gonna hold it out to him. And as she does, just, you are my father, but if you attempt to take and keep this blade from me, it will be the last thing you do.
Um,
She says with like a cheeky smile.
he kind of smiles, and he says, there are a lot of things I've taken in Mainz that I should not have. He says, every one of them I came to regret.
We have an understanding.
He looks at it and he says, I haven't seen a blade like this before. He says, but I have seen metal like this before. Um, and he goes to the back and he comes back with, it looks like a piece of a vase. Um, and the the kind of fracture that is along the side of it, he, um, it's very easy to tell that it was like, I'm trying to figure out how. You know how like when you drop something, it'll fracture like a certain way, but if you put something between two forces and crush it, it's a completely different kind. The way that this looks like it was broken is that it looks like it was like ripped from within and like out. Does that make sense? Like something exploding inside of it, or some really strong force just grabbing a metal vase and like tearing it in half, or something similar. The metal she recognizes, though, it looks to be of the same kind as uh as the blade that she has. And there are, like in the style of a Newman vase, that there's artwork along the side. She can see that as well. Um, and it's the way that it's set up is that it reminds her of like a cave. And she can see on one side of it, um, there are the bones of enormous creatures. And then on the other are what look like insectoid warriors carrying spears. And in the middle of it is, um, there's a very sort of stylized shadow that is hard to tell any greater information about. Like the shadow itself is kind of caught between these two forces, but it is distinctive in and of itself. Like it is not the shadow of something, it is the central character in the middle of this little piece that she sees.
Okay.
Says, and I wish I had more origins for you on this particular piece. He says, but I bought it from a trader.
And well, then maybe I'm more help to you. I don't know the origin. I do know that he's like sort of familiar with the crew, right? Like he was on the ship for a bit.
Yeah.
Blue Eye had stabbed himself in the eye with it and could see the ocean floor.
I remember the man you were talking about. It says, I knew him before he lost that eye. Um, he says he hadn't acquired this yet, though. He hadn't lost his eye.
And did he lose his eye before Runa gained consciousness and like memory?
He lost his eye when Bruno was a child. Like she doesn't remember the circumstances of it, but she knew him as Fit Blue Eye for forever. So, and she knows the story of how he lost it, that like there was some raider that they were fighting against who happened to have the thing, who stabbed him in the eye, and he killed the raider and took the knife as a trophy. He didn't like deliberately just plunge it into his own eye. It was like done in the middle of a
I
fight.
got switched up because in her vision there was a guy who stabbed himself in the eye.
The different guy.
Different guy. I figured. It's just the things. It's
Yeah.
you know.
Um, Amusingly, I as a GM have an eye trauma thing that I usually try to avoid. It seems to be coming up a lot in this game, so hope I'm not projecting on y'all. So he says, "Do you mind if I take the time to draw it?" Says, "Put it into my notes. I don't intend to keep the blade, but I would like to keep a likeness of it."
Go for it.
Um, and the as he's kind of like drawing, taking notes, he kind of it's something that his brow kind of furrows and he lifts up. He says, "But look at that." And he takes the blade and he passes it in front of like a lantern and he points at the opposite wall where his hand is like in the position of somebody holding up a knife, but it doesn't look like there's anything in his hand. There's no shadow cast by this blade.
Strange. Vampire blade that she doesn't actually say.
um, he
Except
just
the shadows in here, but never mind.
he uh he kind of looks thoughtful for a moment and he picks up like the piece of box that he has and he does the same thing. He holds up in front of the light. And what appears on the wall is sort of like a half shadow. It's like he's holding smoke, in that sometimes particulates of light get through it, but it's not like a solid entity. Does that make sense?
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
He shakes his head. Um, he says the trader I got this from was a crescent, but he said he'd acquired it from Usurans.
So we don't super know where it came from.
says, depends on where in Usura you're talking about. Says there are parts of it that border on Crescent lands.
This is true.
Um, and he looks kind of thoughtfully at the he unfurls a map and he sort of gestures to it. I moved the on-screen image over to the map of Thea. And he points to the border that Usura and the Crescent Lands share. He says, there's a lot of ports over here that crisscross back and forth between Crescent and Usuran lands. Says trade is easy there, and the Crescents don't seem to think of Usurans the way they think of the rest of Theans. As in, they're not the ones who brought the Crusades to their doorstep.
So Usura is their only non-enemy.
He says they've invaded each other back and forth. He says, but I wouldn't call them amicable. He says more just that they have something of an understanding. They recognize them as distinct from the rest of Thea, whereas the rest of Thea to most Crescents is just Thean. And as Rona is looking it over and realizing that like Grizz is in a port, and that the map that he has more labeled Crescent ports than she's like seen in any one place. Kind of tracing down along this coast.
My notes are covering them up a little bit.
I'm just kind of pinging several places. There are a number of different places there that have labeled ports, but also very specifically down here is where he has a few that are written in different colors. Runa doesn't have enough like knowledge to know the difference between them.
What are the different colors about? What
He
what does
says,
that mean?
oh, he says the black ports, he says you have to avoid. And he gestures to the ones that are on like the east side. He says they're all tightly under the control of the Sultan. He says, and any Thean that's caught there, he says, would be treated as a slave or put to death. He says down here in red, he says this is where members of the country still trade with Theans, says discreetly, mostly the Vidachi. There are only the Bernoulli family is legally allowed to do so, but plenty of others still do. Crescent carpets and crescent silks are big business. Says so the ports that are there, they're technically abandoned. They're no longer used because they were only used for trade with the rest of Thea. Says, but for smugglers like myself, there are places we knew to go where we could find somebody willing to trade with us.
Now, I understand if you don't know, but you said which port, and this may be a far stretch, would I think you just pinged the one that I need, so
Yeah, I was kind of indicating the area that was the red stuff, the stuff that was like still trading with Thea.
that's good to know.
Says it's still dangerous to trade with those ports because there are raiders and slavers who will take Theans captive and sell them as slaves. That's, he says, the hunting grounds of Círdan.
Briss is there. and I have seen him.
Says, you friends with anybody in the Bernoulli family?
Can't say that I am.
Do you know somebody owes a Bernoulli a favor? Or could get one
Do
from
I?
them? Probably, she probably doesn't off the top of her head. Like the number of Vodacce that she knows is fairly limited. But this is happening before everything with Beatrice Caligari.
Right. Um, I don't.
Says, I have unfortunately burned any bridges I might have once had with Vodacce merchandise.
What would you do that for?
It's survival.
That's fair.
There's
I
a
like that I know
reason
you.
I'm here in Eisen and not down in a very comfortable palace in Vodacce.
That's fair. And this is, I assume this is post Jimé.
Yes. Yeah, she's all recovered from her injuries.
It's we have a way to Porte there, but it's dangerous. But anyway, obviously, is going to be
Says,
dangerous.
well, yeah, he says the reaction of most crescents to sorcery is about what you would think of as the reaction of inquisitors to it.
Right. I just hope we can get to her before he does.
Says it's a couple days crossing by Vodacce ship, even if you've got one ready to sail and close by.
And the past couple times that I've checked in on Gris, Curidan's ship is there.
Says it's strange for him to be lingering in one place for a long time. He says he's got mouths to feed. He says slaves aboard his ships. He says he would be moving them to sell them.
There be a reason he's lingering?
He says, I don't know why he'd be lingering, but it is unusual.
Kind of curious to know if he's still there. I could check. I wonder if he's still there. I'm gonna check.
Sure. Go ahead and make a roll.
So it's sorry, I haven't rolled my runes in a little bit. It's
It's your resolve plus the gateway rune.
okay. 38.
Okay. Um,
Wait, do I have
so
that?
you're
Yes, I do.
here's the question. Are you looking in on Grizz or are you looking in on Charlotte?
Charlotte.
Um, Charlotte is in what looks to you like so Vestan ships don't have these, but you are familiar with other ships in general, and most ships of the line of like Castilian or Montane make have a brig aboard. Um, Curidan's vessel, being a slave vessel, doesn't have a brig because a normal, like the way that they go about punishing things is just brutal enough that a brig isn't really a requirement. But clearly the room that Charlotte is in has been turned into one. Um, and Charlotte is sort of pacing inside of a very small room. Um, and there is a um, very bloody cross of the prophet that has been like marked on her forehead in blood. It's not a cut. It looks like somebody smeared blood on her. And she keeps like shouting out in Crescent and kind of like pushing on the door of the room that she's in. She's been stripped down to her small clothes. And there's no sign of the weapons that she had or the boots that she was wearing. Then the boots is sort of an important thing because that was the thing that Jamae was tied to, was a shoe nail. Runa can watch for several minutes as she like calls out, shouts. She's clearly angry. She's speaking in Crescent the entire time, so Runa has no idea what she's saying, but she is very obviously displeased.
Kind of serves her right. This is a problem.
There are two crescent marks next, like on either side of the on either side of the cross. If you give me a wits check, um, with the I'll give you a number of unkept die for how many additional languages do you speak beyond Veston?
Two.
Okay, so I'll give you two extra unkept dice. And this is just to
So
sort of
straight
like
wits?
remember the form of like the specific sigils so that she can like relay them to somebody later on.
I'm trying to remember what wisdom does to see if that can help me at all.
Say that again.
I'm just trying to figure out if I have anything that can help me.
This is only a target number 20, so
Okay, so wits plus 2 unkept.
so I will let her remember one of them correctly, and the other one she thinks she has, but she doesn't.
Could I now I totally understand what you say now. Can she kind of like reach out and like kind of like see if girl can get her like a writing tool and paper?
I will let you make a secondary roll. This is going to be wits and your artist skill because you have an artisan skill, right?
I have craftsman, yeah.
Craftsman. Okay. I will let you do wits and craftsman. That's going to be a higher target number to be able to like blindfold transcribe.
Right. Okay. $41.
Okay. Um, Holy shit, that's a 41. Yeah, okay,
I
so that's going to
said.
be. I thought you said 21, and
Ah.
then I looked over at the roll 20 was like, oh no. Okay, yeah, so you have them like copied down along with the cross and like the positioning exactly in case it's relevant.
Mhm.
As if you were like gonna have to do makeup to recreate this before a play. So, um,
Yes.
the uh, so she comes out of her vision, um, and Geralt looks at it. He says, I speak Crescent." He says, "mostly really impolite things." He says that I can say to a sailor. He says, "but I don't read it."
Well, if only I could bring you in to see. She was only speaking Crescent.
He says, "then I'd say she'd be the one to ask."
Kind of difficult. We kind of can't get to her specifically anymore.
Um,
Do you have any idea what these mean?
he says, "like I said, I don't read it."
That
He says, "the thing is about," he says, "Crescent Lands, as I understand it," he says, "they're undergoing their own religious upheaval right now. The Sultan is trying to destroy everything in Crescent that isn't the book and the church."
can I also check Gris?
Yes, make a second roll. There's gonna be two of her runes for the day, though.
That's fine. This is before where we're at now, right?
Yep.
39.
Okay. Um, she sees Gris in the galley compartment of the ship. She and a few of the others apparently have been recaptured, but not all of them. Um, she is not moving much at the moment, but it's only because she's like asleep while chained to the galleys. Does that make sense? Um, and but she does not appear to be like there are some bruises and stuff like that that you would expect from the position of captivity that she's in, but nothing that suggests a serious wound.
Does it look like the ship is moving?
No, she can look out the window and she can still see the port. She can still see Kieran's men moving through the port.
Okay. Doom. Mom says it's my turn with the doom.
But she has learned some important things. One is that, at least at the moment, Charlotte seems to be out of favor with the person she was trading slaves with. And second, she's currently not wearing her shoes, which means that if, she doesn't know where they are, but if Shimei were to go to them again, she wouldn't necessarily be immediately greeted by a hostile swordswoman.
But could be greeted by a hostile slaver.
It is very likely that the shoes are somewhere on the ship.
That I was thinking that.
Also, there's a couple things there. One is that Charlotte is a porte master, so if she's choosing to remain there, there's a reason for it. And the second is that her vital equipment, her sword and the like, are likely blooded to her, which means that she's likely able to get them back.
Okay. Learned some important information.
So, um, so with that, I'm going to drop the curtain. We're going to pick back up with the scene post Beatrice Caligari. Let me just go ahead and read us in real quick. This is the first night that we have had our entire cast here once, and I just need to note that your screen should be filled with adventurers. So we'll have a little bit of longer of an introduction tonight. So thank you everyone and welcome to the Shadow of the Wachtturm. Our producer tonight is one of the moderators of Dirty 20 Gaming, the delightful and compassionate Gloriosa, who put together an OBS to have this many people on it on the fly midstream, which I just need to point out. Our lore master for the series is the beautiful and benevolent Syndra. Before we get started, I want to give a content warning. While the spirit of Seven Sea is swashbuckling adventure and shadowy intrigue, the story will deal with mature themes, including death, loss, suicide, and grief. Eisen, our setting, is recovering from a 30-year civil war over religious differences. It may get dark sometimes, and there's no shame in bowing out if it's not a place your head can go at the moment. So without further ado, I'm going to have our savvy swashbucklers introduce themselves, starting with Runa.
Hi, I'm Ruth. You found me. I am here on Monday in our Pandora's Gift Suncast as Xenon Alcides, Cleric of Nyx. Alternate Wednesdays when we're finally back from our hiatus in our Oracle Force game as Truck, other physics-based bullshit. Thursdays as Nora Avalon in Deviant Paradox. And today as Runa, well fuck, Ingvild's daughter. That is all from me, so I'm gonna pass it on over to
Hello, I am the Scarred Adventurer. I am here today as Arthur Wolf. Otherwise, you'll find me on. My brain is doing a bunch of stuff, and it's not helping me keep everything in track. And there's stuff I can't. I don't think I can talk about quite yet. So still, you'll find me on Thursdays as the fun Noel Harper, which is just going to be a lot of craziness, as he usually brings to the table whenever he shows up, and just causes everyone to I just ruin things for people, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And on alternate Wednesdays, I'm running our Oracle Force campaign. which we should be coming back next Wednesday. Not the one that's not this most recent one, but the one that's we're coming back. We're coming back for next session. Is essentially my plan, where we will deal with Crabomination Crabastion, which I found hilarious, and no one else finds hilarious, but I find hilarious, so it's good enough for
You
me.
get to do the dry run of pronouncing that tonight, so
Yeah. And otherwise, you'll find me working with the wonderful Sam and Sarah at Tango Productions, along with Rock Paper Fox, and doing stuff and or things to bring to your faces eventually. Yes, I'm in a lot of pain. I can't keep my brain in order. So yeah, let's quickly throw it over to Bison.
Hi, that's me. I am Bison_Stonefist. I am a regular on this channel. I am currently here 3 nights a week. Tonight I am playing Gav the Grin, our big lovable Batman. Big lovable back alley Batman. Let me get that right. And Sewer Surf and Suplex Machine. In a game of swashbuckling sorcery, Gav does neither. On Mondays on the Pandora's Gift Suncast, which is the earlier of the 2 shows, I play Bofades Caridia, a humble servant of Hephaestus. That's a great show. Definitely watch them both. It's the same campaign with different crews, so it's a very different view. I really like it. I actually really like the way Kevin's doing it. And on Thursdays, I am also in the Deviant Paradox campaign as Garrett Sakes, our demisexual disaster boy, and resident emo kid. And other than that, you can occasionally find me on Nate Cat Goldchain Live's channel playing Call of Duty and Overwatch, because apparently I'm in my shooter phase. Let's take it to Rory.
Hey everybody, I'm Rory. You have come across me once again on this wonderful Sunday evening, playing everyone's favorite unmute your mics now for the best bit, Soldier Boy.
you.
Hans Reifenstahl, the god. He has so many responsibilities. Bizarre, undead. Now marshal of the city's army, which is interesting. You can also find me on this awesome channel playing more awesome games on alternating Wednesdays, along with a few other fellow cast members as part of Oracle Force. Myself playing Graviton. I said physics-based daddy issues last week, and I think I found that really funny, so I'm going to stick with that for now. As well as potentially in mystery upcoming games soon, so keep an eye out for other stuff that's happening, and join the Discord. Do it now. That aside, nothing cool to talk about, so toss the hot potato over to Shadow.
Thank you so much. Hello all, I am Shadow, also known as the True Shadowmancer. I am one of the founders of the Desperate Dice Rollers Discord channel. Feel free to join us there at any time. In general, you can find me hanging out in either the DDR server or here in Dirty 20 Gaming. Tonight I am playing Georges Saint-Germain-Dupont, resident swashbuckler and bearer of vendettas. And thank you all for not ruining my storm. Now I get to do my announcements. Coming in 2 weeks, a new D&D 5.5 adventure game presented by Dirty 20 Gaming, produced by Hellhounds 20, The Rise of the Temple. Tuesdays in 2 weeks. Be there. The fate of the world depends on it. By the way, y'all, how many of you all are in that? Raise your hands. And we'll be introducing Jet. Yeah. Ruth ran off before I could introduce her. We'll also be introducing a new player, Janet Jane. So you all be kind. All right, I'm going to pass it on to Honorine.
Hello, I am Blaze of Gloriosa, also known around here as Glory, or sometimes why is our producer screaming? I produce on this channel 2 nights a week on alternate Wednesdays for our Masks a New Generation game Oracle Force, which is coming back on April Fool's Day, which is the most appropriate thing I have ever heard in my life, actually. I looked up, I saw the date because I was like, oh, I'm gonna just give him the date to be helpful, and I saw that it was. I got so excited. Anyway,
They'll actually just cancel a day of just to be a dick.
No.
Anyways,
worst April Fool's joke ever. I'll cry. I need this in my life, Scarred. I
And
need
then
it.
Corey to go hunt you down.
That what would
I said him not being there will get you to go hunt him down.
it?
How-
It will.
How
Which-
else are we gonna see if Gravitrick the
Might-
ship sails if we don't play?
It, anyway, on Thursday for our City of Mist campaign, I also produce Deviant Paradox. You can catch me in front of the camera one night a week on my own channel streaming games. What were we doing last week? I don't remember. Next week is probably going to be Grounded, which I've heard is like Jump Scare Palooza, and I have an exaggerated startle reflex sometimes. So that should be fun. Then tonight, as honoring, single-handedly raised Freiburg's hot-or-not.com rating. Cease to cease. That's everything on my notes app. So I'm going to hand it over to... Has Rosa gone yet? Rosa.
It's Rosa and Len left. So hey y'all, my name is Sarah. I go by Sans on the Discord. I'm on this channel 3.5, soon to be 5.5 nights a week. I am here tonight as Rosa Nick's What the Fuck Do You Mean Fate Bear? Our go watch last session if you don't know what that means. Our Monday night Pandora's Gift Nightcast. I play Clarity Palace, the best healer in the world of Apollo. Our Wednesday Mask Orc Force game, I play Nightwish, might not be leader much longer, and I am the DM of the City of Mist campaign, Deviant Paradox, Chaos Incarnate. Come see it. I torture my players like Kane on the regularly. Other than that, you can find me working on Tango Productions with the Scarred Adventurer and Raw Paper Fox on Stuff and Things. Handing it over to Len.
Hey folks, it's me, Bat Kyle. You found me. And you can find me here tonight playing everybody's favorite, well, everybody but Honoring's favorite, Rizzler of Asura, Len Costin, also the Herald of Doom, and Dragon Talker person. He still hasn't, I think, told anybody about that. They haven't told anybody about that, have they? No, yeah, so that's going to be a whole thing. Then you can find me in the cast chat of most of, or not the cast chat, the Twitch chat of most of these games, being a menace when I can arrange it. And you will find me upcoming, probably 3 weeks from now, maybe 4, depends on what the players need and all, but running Everyday Divinity, a Scion 2nd Edition game. That I am really looking forward to and has been in my head for quite a while. So just, show of hands, how many people in this chat are in that game? Yeah. So, and that will have Janet too. So, whole lot of debuts there.
The cast that plays together stays together.
Yeah. Because I know where to find you all if you try and leave.
Y'all are gonna be sick of each other by Sunday.
But
Kyle again.
yeah, I mean, you got to take me in small doses. I mean, for glory here.
It's one way to get Sans over Bat Kyle's jokes.
No.
Exposure.
Exposure therapy. It's gonna work finally.
Exposure therapy is a lie.
It is a lie.
It hasn't worked in 14 years, girlie. It's not going to work.
God's damn.
Oh, we're just Yosa.
I am Siosa, and I am the storyteller here for Shadow of the Wachtturm. Very proud of all the new games that are coming up on the channel. And because we have a whole lot of people here tonight, I am going to just jump into it. Runa, you still are planning on leaving partway through tonight, right? So people know that it's not just like an emergency or something.
Yeah, I'm leaving like half an hour before game ends.
Okay. So I just wanted to let people know that it's not an emergency. We know it's happening. Nothing's on fire.
Just
So-
a birthday party.
In the ancient days of Numa, the great storyteller and philosopher Ceres the Wiser once noted that an adventure can only begin in one of three ways: by death, by slur, or by letter. To begin without one of these incitements is folly, a debacle best described as an indiscretion, a dalliance, an escapade. But fear not, we begin tonight properly girded with a letter, the most seductive of the three, and thus the most powerful. The letter that we are closing in on is the same letter that we used last week, because it has not in fact been delivered by virtue of all of the chaos and calamity that is happening in the bear house. There is a very somewhat not very somewhat, just very bewildered envoy, messenger from Seeger, with a letter from the Iron Prince himself, who is staring at the interior of a playhouse that has sprouted ice stalactites that reach from like the room overhead all the way down to the stage floor. And he is under compulsion to deliver the letter to the hands that it was meant to, but he takes one look at the ice that has grown out of the ceiling and to the stage itself, and he grabs the shoulder of a familiar Castilian woman as she moves by, and he says, "Is Honorine Sykes du Sykes here?" And Alejandra looks at him and she says, "I believe so." And he says, "Would you give this to her?" And so the letter, he turns on his heel and leaves, muttering about witchcraft. And Alejandra kind of gives, some side eye at the back of that, you know what I'm saying, but looks at the letter, looks at the sigil of Eric Seeger that's on the back of it, looks up at whatever sorcery is happening above. There's still some panic noises, Jareth's taking a door off of the hinges, Runa running in to see what she can about Beatrice Caligari, and then like there's a flash of lightning and thunder that can be seen through the doorway as Alejandra looks up at it. And Alejandra just sort of like, she retakes in like the ice that has grown out of the ceiling, and she makes the prophet's cross on herself, and she heads up the stairs.
That woman is made of steel.
By this point, I think Beatrice is just
Castilian
like in
steel.
Runa's arms.
Either that or she's just used to it by now. She might actually just be used to it by now.
And Alejandra sort of looks over the chaos and looks at Beatrice Caligari on the floor and the ice that is like surrounding her, and the remains of like whatever ritual has happened here. Even Jareth looks a little bit like something went down, but Alejandra just sort of like looks it all over and she says, "So I'll assemble the council then?"
Yes.
Si, senora, please.
She nods and she hands a letter to Honorine and turns and heads down the stairs.
Forgot I was mic'd.
Thank you. Oh,
What is it?
Would you like to read the letter at this moment, or?
Is there a problem?
I think, don't we have multiple people like down on the floor and stuff? Like, I would like to read it, but I'm not sure now is the time for honoring.
Well, so the
Runa's
question is,
actively holding Beatrice.
yeah, and Beatrice is like, I'm okay. Um, and she looks at like the ice that is kind of like grown over everything. And like even like the cup of tea that had been poured for her has like ice that's like formed across the top of it. Um, she says, "Is there somewhere warmer we can go?"
Yes, Runa, bring the woman somewhere warmer.
Yeah. So Runa's thought that probably the costume room any warmer. I think we can.
There's a kitchen which probably has a stove.
Chill.
Now, none of these places are protected from scrying as this place is. Runa has I believe a few runes left that she can do today, like 2 or 3, because the stuff that was earlier in the day was still today. The scene with Geralt, meaning
Mm.
when she was doing some spying. So she can go to the kitchen, they can head anywhere they want, and she can put up another rune. But she has a limit on permanent descriptions, or she can maintain one while they're having their conversation.
So I have one more. I believe I have one more rune that can be inscribed. She probably has the mystery rune on her place
Okay.
because also like her mom's there.
And her family and everything. So they kind of grab Alejandro real quick and say, we're going to Runa's place, we're gonna meet there.
Mhm.
Okay. And Alejandro, takes note of it. He does give Honorine some time to discreetly read the letter on the way over as they're kind of making arrangements. So, and for those of you who are not presently in the scene, which I believe is Len and Hans and Gerard and Gav and Arthur, they're gonna get a message from one of the little, town couriers which are all, children that you pay a couple coins to. They let you know, like, the council's in session, but we're meeting at X, and like that's all the message that they're paid to remember. You can interrogate them, but they're kind of like, I don't know, a lady paid me to say that to you.
Hans and Len are probably real close if they're at home.
All right, so I'm going to read the letter real quick as Honorine's reading it on her walkover. It says, Lady Honorine Seiss to Seiss, clearly my affection for your family has addled my senses because I am writing this letter in response to your criticism. It is the pastime of the powerless to speculate upon what they would do in the place of the powerful. Such speculations do not usually trouble me, but in the case of George Heinzel, I actually echo a sentiment of agreement. Heinzel did not deserve to die in flames, but his end was assured. The ambitious nobles who had seen Heinzel's mismanagement were already conspiring against him. That said, he deserved a better end, and the one responsible has been appropriately dealt with. Eric Seeger. Shit.
Yeah, no, Gav would put it a little bit nicer, but I think his response would have been something along the lines of horseshit. He doesn't believe that somebody else did them.
Actually, Honorine has good
believe it.
reason to believe that because
Yeah.
she knew he was over in the forest, and the army that was moving on Heinzel, which was across his entire lands, wouldn't have been able to have him at the lead of it.
The
Which
general
means
is
at the
still
very least,
responsible
somebody
for
could have
sins.
been. He's acknowledging his responsibility for it. He doesn't deny that. What he's saying is that he didn't like the manner of his end.
Yeah.
He's not saying he wouldn't have killed him. Just maybe not in the fashion that he was killed.
The man was on his way out, but he deserved a cleaner death, is how I read that letter.
Basically was what Eric was getting across.
While also throwing a little bit of shade.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, he kind of called Honorine a Monday morning quarterback,
He
which
kinda-
I can totally actually get behind. I can see it.
All right. So, give me the quick version of what your characters are up to when the page finds you. Not a page, but just a paid courier. Finds them, delivers the message. So we'll start with Arthur.
Arthur is. I'm just imagining that if it's okay with Hans that he and Logan are all in the same place.
Yeah, sure.
I'm assuming it was just another midnight rendezvous, and Arthur is now sitting you down for both just for meals. Like, eat properly. You have a lot of work. You have a lot of work. I have work. We just, nutrients. You can't subsist on bread and butter.
I mean, it is easy. Come on, cut me some
Yes,
slack, man.
of course it's easy, but that's not the entire point of the bleeding thing. You have to understand that we need to eat in a way that makes us healthy enough that we can go and defeat people that are much larger than us. And
in the middle of Arthur's rant, Logan is hugging him from behind and like gives him a squeeze. He's like, "Thank you for breakfast."
You're welcome. Wait, do we both have the? Wait, is this a weird thing where I'm somehow dating the both of you now?
Logan kind of like, I
I
don't think
didn't
we've
sign up
really
for that.
discussed what we are doing at this point.
Oh dear God, I'm in a trouble.
Says- he kind of smiles. He
The
says,
accent just the cherry on the top.
he says,
Oh my
but
God.
whatever it is, it does need to be discreet. Says outside of these walls.
Just a bunch of guys
Yeah.
being dudes.
And a couple of dudes being dead.
They were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates. Sorry.
And that's when there's, a knock on the door and like two kids standing next to each other. Like, well, we're both going to get paid for it, right? Of course we're both. We'll say it at once. The council's being called, but they're meeting at Runa's place. You know where it is.
Well, I'll follow you because I don't remember where Runa's place is.
I think Arthur's been to this place.
I'm certain I have been, but I can't remember off the top of my head as I'm doing 12 other things for these disasters of men. Anyways.
Phrasing.
No, that was fine.
That was fine.
All right. So they
Oh,
get
I
on
just
their
remembered
way.
who was also at
Coach
Runa's
house.
house.
Yeah, I'll
Brandy.
Yeah, and Sora. And Ingvild.
I'm not worried about Sora.
Um,
Brandy at a council meeting? Are you kidding?
I mean, Arthur always manages to sneak in some whiskey. I don't see how Brandy's going to be much.
What is Len up to at the time that?
Len is probably, unbeknownst to Rosa, looking at baby clothes and bassinets. He's like, I don't know how to dad, but I'm trying to figure it out ahead of time. Like, do we do the blue? Do we do the pink? This green one's kind of nice. Oh, yes.
He says the council has been called. Says they're meeting at Runa's place. You know where it is.
I do. I should bring snacks. He's
Holds
gonna give
his
the
hand for the coin.
yeah, he's gonna pay the kid. And he always pays a little extra because it pays for the, have the street kids be positively inclined towards him. And then he's gonna stop for baked goods and maybe some pre-made tea and coffee and head on that way. Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, and the kid kind of was like, the grain looks best, and goes with your eyes. Walks off.
That's the worrying part, I think. But we'll tackle that later. Oh. And he'll just jot down some notes and pack that away. And like I said, go get some snacks and drinks and head to Runa's.
All right. And
when did the vision happen? That was like during
the thing with
Caligari
Beatrice
chaos,
Caligari.
right? Yeah.
So I know that Runa and Rosa have shit to talk about.
Yeah, so I don't think there's been any time to talk about it yet.
And maybe. Never mind.
So what is Gav doing as here's a knock on the door, gets approached by one of the street kids.
Gav is actually at the Hall of Records leading story time.
Oh.
So Gav is probably going to be the latest because the kid stops and waits out story time, like just sits in the back and listens to the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? Assuming that and then at the end of it, right.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of story is Gav telling? Is he telling one he remembers from Margot telling with puppets, or is it sort of a traditional dark Eisen fairy tale? Or
he's actually working on his Montaigne, and he's reading a Montaigne story and translating it to Eisen.
Okay.
So it's one of those sort of big fantastical adventures with things that shouldn't happen. Think like Baron Munchausen.
Okay.
Just over the top, wild kid story.
This is Montaigne is comparable to France, right?
Yes.
Cinderella would be a good story for that then, because it is a French story.
Hmm.
This is a
Um,
this is a thought.
and I think he's probably gotten a hold of like an older one that hasn't been so affected by recent events in Montaigne, and so isn't like, and then the rowdy peasants were put to death for
Yeah.
um
No, it's definitely the kind of story that was written to like pump up the Musketeers.
okay. Um Yeah, there are actually, I think, probably quite a few that are in the vein of like the later Musketeer stories from Dumas. You know what I'm saying? That very much paint the Musketeers as like drunkards and lechers and like all kinds of things, but also infallibly men of their word and men like invested in the best for Montaigne. Um,
Mhm.
but the kids definitely seem to enjoy it. There's plenty of dueling and guns and bloodletting and
Yeah.
um. And he afterwards he says the council has been called to session. It's at Runa's house. You know where that is.
Da. Make sure you stick around for snacks.
And Honolulu kind of like, do you need snacks for the council?
He just thinks like it would not be a bad thing. I think I should grab some before I
She
go.
says, I'll get you a basket of rolls. Everyone likes rolls. And so lastly we come to Gerard. What is Gerard doing as the messenger finds him?
Gerard is visiting with Mademoiselle Janine, Auntie.
Okay.
There are some things you said in your encounter with Sean that had me concerned. You said she was using Pote in conjunction with her swordsmanship, no?
She nods. She says that the blade had some kind of magic to it. I could feel it resonating through it whenever she used it. She could use it to cut open pockets.
Then this is something that I must prepare for. I will need you to recall as much as you can. And then help me learn what she is doing with this technique. I must be ready to face it when the time comes.
Um, she nods. She says she was very fast. She says, and I'm not a trained swordswoman, so I didn't follow most of it as it was happening. Um, she but she does kind of she stands. She uses like a table knife as like sort of like uh indication of like she made a different motion when she was cutting open one of these portals. I don't know if it was familiarity or something else, but it sort of went like so. She's demonstrating, and Gerard can tell that it's probably something that is not part of like the normal back and forth of sword fighting, so that it's not happening by accident, which does make the wrist motion a little bit more distinctive.
Very good. This is what I will be studying and preparing for. Because when it comes time to face Charlotte, she's no longer fighting like a swordsman.
Um, she says, I have no doubt that she has uh, weapons in such a pocket. Um, but the poison that she used against me was not from it. It was from the blade itself. It was hidden in the hilt. And she reversed it and aimed the pommel at me before firing it.
Flattering. So it was like a dart.
She nodded.
Can you show me?
I don't have the dart.
No, not the dart, the movements that she made before this happened.
Yeah, and she kind of she says, "Can I borrow your blade?" Yeah, she takes it. She definitely does not have like the weight of like being used to them. She's probably learned a little bit of like knife play and stuff like that, but she kind of like, I always forget how heavy these things are. But then she kind of shows that she reversed it almost like she was going to be like sheathing it and putting it away, except instead she drew it across and like aimed while doing that and fired it. It's probably not a weapon that could be trusted to be accurate to more than 10 or 20 feet with that as an aiming mechanism, because you can't sight it, you can't look down it.
No, but if it is a small, if it is in the pommel, and this is the motion that it needs to be done, then it is potentially countered with the sweep of a cloak. No,
She says it's quite possible. She says there was no sound of gunpowder. She says it wasn't discharged like that. She says it was something like a whoosh of air that was pushed through and forced the dart.
which will throw off the weight. Very good, very good. This is already very good information that I can explore.
And by description alone, Gerard is certain that this is a matra blade, like one of the most legendary Montaigne swordsmen, or Montaigne blacksmiths. Matra blades there were several generations of them, but the first generation was the best because the swordsman could do clockwork, he could do magical infusions with porte. So any blade that carries multiple of those things is certainly one of his creations.
And now you know the source of my questions.
So,
I
but like as an advantage, like if you were to just buy one of those, that's like a 15 hit point, hero point advantage to just own.
I know I looked at them when I created. No other things.
All right, and the kid kind of like, he's one of the younger slice to slice is like, we have a courier for you, Master Gerard.
Yes, we
And he says the council is called to session at Runa's place, and you know where that is.
do.
Oh, he might
He
not.
kind of
How
he
about you?
says he says
Pretty
I
much
know where
everyone's been
Runa,
to Len's place, but not Runa's.
he says I know what Runa's place is if you have a coin.
Who does?
And then you will need to.
Yeah,
Totem-
he's happy to lead the way. It's like a nominal thing, and like it's a normal thing that they do through the city anyway. But the fact that like the council's individual members have enough reputation that the kids have bothered to learn where their houses are for potentially leading them there is pretty telling about how much reputation they've accrued in general.
Pardon what is in the business attends.
She nods. She says, "I hope I was helpful."
Very helpful.
So we'll kind of, everything coming together. Rosa, Runa, Honorine, Beatrice arrived before everyone else. Uh, Ingvild is there, as is Brandy and Sora.
And Red, the dog.
Brandy! Hello, sweetie!
And yeah, Brandy is happy to be like scooped up to give hugs. She's like still of the size that she can be passed between Rosa and Honorine. Um, and Ingvild is kind of teasing like, how will you ever get your sea legs if you're never walking around?
Easy, we throw her on a boat.
She says she is of the age. She's big enough to be thrown on a boat.
I agree.
Yeah, and Brandy is like, I am going to be captain now.
I'm sure you will.
But she settles and like as Sora sees like that there are gonna be more people coming over, she says, do you need us to go maybe pick up some dinner or something?
I've a feeling that Brandy maybe shouldn't be hearing everything. To like not saying like right in front of Brandy, but like to Sora.
Yeah. And Brandy does kind of like scope out Beatrice Caligari, and Beatrice looks back at her, and Brandy leans towards Honorine and she says, "Your friend is creepy."
I think she knows.
Um. Yeah, and Beatrice kind of like He looks at her and she says, "Have a care how you treat your fellow witches, little witch." Um, and Brandy kind of smiles at that, and looks to Runa. She's like, "Can I make lightning?" And Sora's like, "Absolutely not in the house."
I
I
don't
still
mind.
haven't
don't know
finished
that you
patching
know
up
how
the
to do
hole.
it safely in the house.
Honorin's like not helping because she immediately was like, I don't mind.
And Brandy is Sora is like, "No, we are not making lightning to the guests in the house." Um, and Beatrice settles, in place, takes whatever warm drink is offered to her without really like doing much more than holding it. And we wait, and everyone is gathered. Um, the uh, did anyone stop by the bear house first, or did they go to Runa's directly?
Len
I-
went to Runa's directly. Wouldn't be a reason for him to stop at the beer house.
Okay,
I'm going to guess that they led directly there, so same.
okay.
How full is the house? Did Juris come? I assume he went back home.
Juris walked them back. Like there was just enough happening that he like the big brawny jet Veston part of him took over and was like, "Let's make sure she gets back safely, even though she can shoot lightning at people."
I think Gav actually would have passed it on his way there.
Okay.
Because it's in the riverfront, and he was in Steinhalt.
Yeah, if he took the that bridge, he would probably have seen it, and at least seen that it looked like it was being closed for some sort of damages. Maybe not went inside and saw what those damages were.
I wonder what happened this time.
Um, but we are soon enough gathered. Um, and the full council together for, I think, the very first time since Rosa had like found all of them.
I am
Very
Beatrice.
cramped.
Living room.
Gav, I'm just thinking Gav getting there last. He's like, "Is there enough room for me?"
Si, signore.
I feel like Red is just like fully on a couch cushion.
What did you say before you put your hand over your mouth, Sarah?
Si, signore.
No, before that.
Oh, I didn't. When he that's all I said.
Okay.
I'm just bitching over here.
Beatrice Caligari is there as well. And for those who weren't here when I described her last time, she is a woman who carries herself in a much older way than she looks. She looks to be like 14 or 15, but she has the bearing of somebody like it's in the same way that like a lot of people who are like raised to royalty and stuff like that carry themselves in an older fashion. Although hers has sort of like a mystical component to it. She is wearing the dress of a Strega, but not currently the headdress of one. And Strega dress is very, very black, very, very like nondescript. But there are like motifs of spiders throughout hers.
She's Wednesday Adams.
Yeah, she's and very severe looking. Like, I don't think
Wednesday.
anybody's yet seen her smile. So
And
she's
yeah,
not
Gav,
rocking the Wednesday braids though. Like,
when Gav sees her, he looks to Rose like, "You have friends you brought."
I asked if she could help.
It is pleasure to meet you. I am Gav of Freiburg.
she says, "I am Beatrice Caligari."
He bows.
Len's gonna look over at Rose and be like, "This is the one you told me about."
Yes.
Senora, this is the rest of the council. You've met Gav.
Arthur.
This is Arthur. This is Hans. This is Len. This is Gerard.
So she is
Awkward.
He's
She is
very rude
very-
to her brother-in-law.
she is very used to like not having like having her veil on, and so her eyes just like complete black as she looks at everybody.
Oh,
Checks
this
out.
again. This is awful.
Oh, not even asking if you can look at our cards first. That's all right. Well,
As
Love this.
Gerard is introduced. He does step forward, take her hand, bow, and in Badachi, greetings, Signora, your reputation, proceed to.
So a few connections I would like to ask about. Zrag is his connection to honoring what would be the defining strand of it? There is passion, there is coins, which indicates like a mercantile relationship. There's staves, which is authority, which is like deference, right? And there is swords, which is conflict.
It would be passion.
Okay. Any other major relationships in the group? Like obviously the Rosa and Len, I'm assuming is a very high passion card. Is there any other connections between the players that you want to just throw out there as like it can be one-sided. Your character can feel one way and like hasn't really divulged it.
Swords against Arthur.
Is Arthur's very visible considering the coin and what he is?
His arcana is extremely visible.
But his strings are not.
Well, his strings to anyone present would be.
Runa
It's
just
a
like
weird
really
muddled
loves
thing.
her friends.
And I don't know what the kind of meat bro connection would be between Gav and Len, but there's
So
there's
a
something
low
there.
tier passion can be just friendship. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Runa has she would see low tier passion towards everyone.
And if you would say that the defining characteristic of the relationship between Len and Gav is like respect over friendship, I would say that's a states relationship. It's just one that one side isn't necessarily dominant. Does that make sense?
It's a stick with a heart on the top. That's and whatever like friendly rival is with honorine.
I think there can be like a kind of
Low
like
swords.
you can have multiple threats between people.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense? So if Len and Gav have like a little bit of hearts and a little bit of swords, that's totally doable.
Runa really loves her friends, so I assume like from Runa it's showing like passion towards everyone.
Okay.
Just cups all around.
And there's a fair bit of duty from Gav to everyone else.
Okay.
Just in the terms of he feels like, well, it's honestly, it's big teddy bear vibes. He just wants to protect everyone.
Okay.
So there's that sort of duty.
So let me ask that, is that the function of wanting to protect everybody out of the connection of a relationship to them, or is it by virtue of his identity of himself as a defender?
Oh gosh.
And I know that's a nuanced question to be like thrown at you.
that is definitely, it's a lot of both. I think yeah, Gav it's his duty as a defender, but it's underpinned with a deep care for each one of his friends.
Okay. One person we haven't heard from is Hans, and I would like to know what is the strongest relationship that he shows in this group.
That's a good question. I think there's probably so far, I think him and Len have had the like most deep conversations. So there's like kind of a camaraderie there, like a lower cups. And then I think this is a thing I was pondering. And I think there's a weak swords between him and Beatrice.
Beatrice, the striker that he's just met?
Yes.
Okay.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe her name was dropped when Hans and Anna had that kind of family history talk with Rosa and Len at that dinner.
Yeah, she scared Anna.
Yes, and I think he's pieced together that she's the one who was the bearer of his death news, effectively. Somewhat. But yeah, small dislike of this lady.
Okay. So Beatrice gets all of that in just like a blink.
Arthur was trying to say
I-
something.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just retconning it. It's just like its passion to everyone else is kind of just friends and like taking care of people sort of thing for most people. I think with Hans, there's a little undercutting of swords, like you're stipping my best friend. Do it right.
That's fair.
And otherwise, it's the strongest friend connection he's got is definitely going to be with Runa.
Okay.
The way she's noticed every time he's ever been sad and has
Oh yeah,
met him with a hug.
So I would like to add in one other thing there. Does Runa have the cold iron coin on her at the moment? The one she got from Mac. As the potential healing for Hans?
It's in the house.
Okay.
I think she probably has it in her pants pocket.
Okay.
Because like she's just kept it with her since he gave it to her, just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere.
So, Arthur is not a fey creature in the sense that he is not she-blooded, but he has spent years in fey lands. And so now my question is, do you think Arthur can sense the presence of cold iron?
is this a question to Arthur or a question to Runa?
This is a question to Scard about Arthur.
Oh, Arthur can sense cold iron.
Okay. Given your background and the things that you've been through, I am willing. So that's actually an advantage in and of itself. That is in the game rules. It's like I have a small amount of Fey blood. I'm not actually putting that part in. I'm putting it as by virtue of his background. I'm going to give you the 1 point advantage of that he can do so, but he can sense that Runa is carrying a piece of cold iron.
Okay. I don't know where to put that. I've filled out my advantages.
There's a note section.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So
Can I add one more?
yes.
She does have sisters with honorary.
Okay. So that's a family connection. But it's a questionable one as to whether it's like one of passion, which just isn't like a romantic kind of passion, or whether it's staves where it's like this bond binds us together and blood is thicker than water.
It's a little bit of both.
She can absolutely have both, and that's totally fine. All right. And
Swords between Honorine and Runa, for why? For why?
Runa's no, there is. Think about it. It's more the players and the characters, but all the smoke shows that Runa keeps running into.
No, that is fully a swords connection between Glory and Ruth. It has nothing to do with the
I've been
character.
vouching for you.
Beatrice like looks everyone over, and she seems to respond to Len's like, oh, just looking at her cards without permission. And she says, not all sorcery is by choice. She says, and I am in a room filled with Pasora. Or Pasadora.
What?
Bless you.
It means paradox.
She says, your cards, they are unique. The kinds of cards that you bear, the arcana that you bear, they're the kind of thing that happen once in a generation, and there is a room full of you.
There are
Apparently this is apparently this is significant.
Just
That
think
we
of
all
all the
found each
trouble
other.
we have gotten into in the last year.
yeah.
There are so many other
The trouble
people
that
that have gotten
finds
into
us.
trouble.
Not so many with the whole world ending thing.
Yeah.
I
Just
blame
think,
Len
okay.
for that.
We live in extremely troubled times, but there is the center of a spider web here.
Yeah. A lot of a lot of things are converging that seem like they're not related, but they have to be somehow. This is too many layers all working towards the same effectual goal.
She looks to Rosa and Honorine, and she says, "Shall we tell the others what we have done?"
Rosa
Yeah.
will look Rosa will look to Honorine and just, do you want me to say what happened or do you want to?
And there is the trouble I was talking about.
Someone should, because I did have to restart her heart. Why did that happen?
Rosa had a little talk with grandmother.
Oh,
She says, "I channeled grandmother," she says, "and with the three of us, we were capable of controlling her for a time."
Oof.
She says, "and from her answers,
and then
answers I am
died.
still eager to hear."
Oh shit, that's right. She hasn't heard them.
Yeah.
That's out of character. Sorry, Honorine said it more Montaigne.
I'm
Tabernacle.
guessing that Mima did not behave.
She did actually.
Ish.
Ah, the wonderful world of Ish.
She
Well,
says, "There is a creature trapped within the unraveled, and we spoke to her."
And we live.
But
That's behaving.
as Runa stated, there were consequences.
but we do know that your sister Beatrice is alive.
She says, "You had a vision."
I did. We also know that it is Judith that is pushing the Unraveled to do whatever they are doing.
She says, "That is not a name that means anything to me."
She's looking at the council because she remembers Rosa heard it somewhere, but player can't remember with.
Wasn't Judith the person hunting the night swatch?
Yep. Something like that, right?
The Black Crosses. Night's Watch is from the Game of Thrones.
Oh, the Black
It
Crescent.
was
Sorry.
Rosa used it last time. They're the Black Crosses. They're also called Die
Black
Crusader,
Crescents.
but they haven't actually given that name. But they've seen the tattoos of Black Crosses on them. So,
Yeah, then Len will speak up. He'll be like, "Yeah, that's. Are you familiar with the Black Crosses? They guard the Nightways. It's where they see the unraveled. Well, they're very deadly. They can do a lot of very supernatural things, and one of their own went rogue and has been hunting them very effectively, and apparently is also hurting the unraveled.
did you say herding?
Like herding, yes,
Like cats or
more
spiders?
effective than that.
Sheep.
Sheep.
Like they're doing what she wants.
So it's not of their own accord?
No, it did not seem to be.
Doesn't mean they don't
Interesting.
enjoy it.
That is true.
Grandmother probably enjoys it quite much. But.
Sounds like her.
Well,
And then she looks to Len.
and he's gonna pause and be like, "Yes, my love."
And our daughter is her choice of vessel.
Absolutely not. How do we kill her? Again, I know she's already dead, but how do I find her and kill her dead twice?
He doesn't want to say it. Oh my god. When I give birth, grandmother will probably appear, and that's when you'll have your chance.
Okay, so what do we need to kill someone who's already dead?
Beatrice says, "Opportunity. The unraveled can be felled by normal weapons. It is a matter of them revealing themselves. Or getting to them while they're in whatever realm they inhabit."
All right. Well, maybe
Honestly, it
friend-
really is just a matter of bait.
well, I would prefer to hunt her down before my daughter. I have a daughter. It's so cool. Is in any real danger? If that's an option.
Do you know a way into the lands between death and life?
Yes,
Eh,
but
mm,
I can't take it.
Right.
It does things. He can tap my screen eyes.
Those of us with sorcery are not able to enter the night way.
I can.
Which is completely unfair, actually.
I don't know why it happens. It just does. I just see things.
Well, that's
for
probably
you
because you're the
guys-
Scion of Ruin. We've got a little board going on there. So when that does it, I'm getting a lot of guilt here.
Len, shut up.
Absolutely not.
Oh God, somebody else said it.
It's like, oh
Bitch.
man, I'm gonna lose 20 gilder.
Many new swords forming right here.
Arthur's just sitting quietly drinking by himself.
Beatrice looks towards him and she says, "What is it you're wearing?"
Do a little turn.
Spin.
Sorry, does Beatrice speak to Arthur for this? Or
Yeah.
Okay. What in particular would you be referring to?
She says, "Whatever is around your neck."
Ah, yeah, that. Not entirely
There's the
certain.
coin and then the wood coin.
Arthur pulls both coins, manages to detach them from the necklace in a nice kind of simple motion, and just kind of twirls it between his fingers.
She says, "May I see?"
And he attaches it back to the necklace and goes, "You can see from here."
She says, "Can you
Not
come
really
closer?"
a big fan of. Yes, I can come closer. I mean, just I'm not in the habit of giving this away to people because that leads to
I
issues.
have no part of wanting that.
Yeah, well, I don't think I really have a big part of wanting it either. So here, check it out.
She she's very careful not to touch the thing. But she looks at it. And then kind of turns and looks at the back of it. She says, "May I ask how you came by that?"
I'm Uncle Jack. He gave it to me when I was a wee lad. Or, well, wee in terms of size. In terms of age, I was probably around 325. I'm from Feylands, love.
She says, "I can see things clinging to you."
Is there a good way to get them to get off? 'Cause I'm a little sick of them, to be honest. I mean, the things clinging to me. Believe the problems I have with my mum. I swore to start. I swore to be in part of a war to avoid having to spend more time with her. It's an awful situation.
She says, "That I know that coin reputation." She says, "And the others like it."
Well, if you'd be so kind as to illuminate us, that'd be lovely.
Those coins were used to seal the bargain that gave mankind sorcery.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Says there is a resonance inside of them ever since.
That
Part
part
of the-
I'm semi-familiar with.
Part of the fate that twists around you is bound to that pact, that bargain. I know of those coins because I know wars have been fought over them.
Well, they've done a pretty piss poor job of taking it away from me.
There are others to collect as well.
Yes. That unfortunately comes down to the part of the how would that benefit myself in that situation?
She says, to my understanding, she says, it is limited in this regard. I know that there are two groups that have sought them for a very long time. One, I believe, intends to reverse the pact, end it, use it to put an end to the bargain, and another hopes to make another, a new bargain.
Do either of these sound like good ideas to you guys?
Well,
Not
people have to
particularly,
people
given
need
the
to
things we have
Exactly.
learned.
destroy, either destroy all sorcery or make more. Yeah.
She says, those who are looking for it, that is what they believe they are capable of doing. I
Mhm.
don't know where this belief stems from.
It is probably much worse.
Oh, almost every single time. Anytime you have something to deal with fate or some ridiculousness, including it, it always has some astronomical cost you can't possibly see the potential for. It's just a mistake.
No, most things have a very simple cost.
Yes, but the simple cost is usually something like my entire eternal soul, the entirety of history. The
The
cost
color
is simple.
blue.
What it actually takes away from you is not.
It's, these coins are is a marker of a deal brokered between mankind, humans, and something else.
And the demons that gave humans magic.
Hmm.
The servants of Legion.
I've not got that far into the books yet.
And
And she
knowing this, I've kind of been doing the thing of not telling anyone the fact that this is such an easy that's a I've done most of my job keeping this away from those sorts of people.
Beatrice she takes a deep breath and she looks at Rosa and she says, you said that you had a vision of my sister and that she was safe, but can you tell me what you saw?
Player does not remember, but Rosa will share what happened.
So
Basically, the head of the musketeers like swooped in and just fucking like heroed all over her shit and got her away.
The
but the
kind of
other thing
story
is
Gav
that
may or may not have been telling when he was doing story time.
but the other things that Rosa does specifically recall is she recalled hearing a voice, like a very otherworldly voice that was sort of like echoing through the palace as she spoke. And I think I think we'd established that Honoring would have recognized said voice. Uh, and I think Honoring having been there and like involved in everything, I actually kind of want her to have like seen the things as well. Like Rosa was asking the questions, but I want Honorine to have like gotten the sight as well because she was participating in it. So she recognizes that the voice that was echoing was the youngest daughter of the Emperor, and like that there was a massive sort of porte magic going on that was filling the palace with blood and causing all sorts of horror, like truly nightmare levels of horror going on in the palace from what she saw.
She said, I make my own destiny.
Um, And for the other refresher, the other part of that was that daughter was the one who sent the letter that was given to Montague.
Here's
The
why I
letter
asked
that
both.
Gerard carried for all that time in Usura.
And she'll relay that to Beatrice.
And Beatrice kind of she's pausing and she's thoughtful. And and then sort of like dawning crosses her face as all of this is related.
So I remember having a theory when we were going through this scene. Wasn't the prevailing gossip about this youngest daughter that
She's not
she
a
was
Strega.
not that what?
She's not a Strega, although her mother is.
No, not that. The youngest daughter, Montague's wife, wasn't Lemperor's daughter. She was the daughter of the queen and her sculptor, if I remember correctly. That was the
There
gossip.
is that theory. So the things that are interesting in this is the youngest daughter is the only daughter of the emperor who showed no signs of porte, no magic at all, not a sorte, not porte, and was something of like an embarrassment as far as the emperor was concerned because the potency of your children is a reflection of yourself, and the emperor has potency to spare. He's been a master sorcerer since he was very young. Um, and her being of his line but completely without magic, like it would have been an incredible insult for any other member of his family to be married to a peasant. The fact that he did so with her was reflective of how little he thought of her.
I have a theory, and Honoриne's going to speak up and say this. I think she was probably manifesting. I'm not sure what kind of magic can do that, but I suspect that she's been practicing something while she was locked in the dungeon and getting angrier and angrier and getting more and more worried for her oncoming child. And I happen to be in a position to know that when magic is at stake, changes can be made. And interesting things can happen. So I very much suspect that she has been working hard to make her own destiny, and we will probably not see more of her until she chooses to assert more of that destiny.
Just swallows. She says, I fear that I've done something terrible.
What?
She says, there was a ritual that was created by the Mad Queen. From it, a Strega could take the magical potential of an unborn child and consume it and gain it for themselves. She says a weak Strega could become a strong one.
What happens to the child?
She just looks at Len without answering.
I do not think you would want the answer to that question, my friend.
Says magic flows in the blood and it is taken.
And how is this a bad thing that you did?
She says, because I gave the ritual to her handmaiden.
Why?
Because she has family and she asked for it.
I don't know that being loyal to your family is a bad thing.
Child murder is.
She didn't do that. In the same fashion that if Rosa ends up destroyed or lessened by the journal that I gave back to her, I would probably blame myself, but someone outside of my position would probably say it wasn't my fault.
There's a difference between giving a journal back that may or may not have certain effects and giving over a ritual that's only option is to suck the life out of a child to empower somebody's magic. There's no good reason to study it. There's no good reason to hand it over.
And Beatrice says there were other rituals inside of it that I believed Annette was interested in.
Okay, see, that's different. You said you gave her the ritual, saying I gave a book full of rituals.
Len.
She says it is just that I see now a potential consequence that I did not at the time. She says, regardless, the damage is done, and I do feel responsibility for it.
Someone needs to tell Montague.
We don't.
You didn't see the child in the vision, did you? Or did Lamperer take him when he fled? Does anybody know?
We don't
the
know
knowledge
if the child's even born.
It wasn't.
Sorry, Siosa.
So by the timeline of like when Gerard delivered the letter and everything like that, the child would not yet have been born at the time that the ritual went off.
Oh, okay.
And from Beatrice's description, it's designed to be done before birth.
Did she look pregnant in your vision? Would she have at least?
They just saw. They didn't see. They heard her voice.
Oh, they heard the voice. Okay.
So we have another monster wearing a crown.
Maybe.
Gonna nudge Rosa gently and give her a "do we tell them" look.
Yeah, she kind of goes, since I'm apparently carrying something totally new, I guess we kind of have to.
What does that mean? Rosa?
Our daughter has both Usuran magic and Vodachi.
Gross.
Oh, she's gonna be awesome. You take that back. You're her aunt. You don't get to say gross about your niece unless she like throws up in your lap or something.
She's gonna be dropping owl pellets on me. Gross.
She's already my favorite child.
Shut up, Len.
But then he's gonna nudge Rosa and be like, "No, I meant the other thing."
Oh, the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon.
Oh, the dragon?
Usually this one does not.
That seems to really bury the lead there, doesn't it?
Da.
I find myself agreeing with the Inishman.
I knew what I was talking about, but
no, I did not.
I'm trying to listen to my fiance.
And
more
Rosa
about...
just goes so bright red.
Well,
she's like, shit, I just gave a secret up that I didn't mean to. Shit.
Beatrice says, let us pretend that my time in Eisenlands is limited.
Okay. Then very quickly, Batushka let us borrow her conveyance, which took us at, frankly, asshole puckeringly fast levels of speed.
Language.
Is Brandy here?
No, but Beatrice is actually blushing at ass puckeringly. Like, she's clearly not used to people talking like that around her. So
look, Len is gonna land. And it took us through the gates to where the Draken went. They're not all dead. They just can't survive here anymore. It's as if the very air and land is poisonous to them in this reality. And we met a very nice, very educated dragon who said he would look into some of Rose's visions about the Wachtturm being shattered and possible ways to prevent that.
Do you forage for mushrooms, Len?
Rosa was with me.
I was with him the entire time. There was even a
share any of your foraged mushrooms?
I haven't had time to forage.
And he does not know the sewers well enough.
Ew.
Go ahead, Rosa. What were you saying? I love.
There was even a small one that the larger dragon treated like a cat.
Yeah, like the dragon, like the one that Kathrinia turned into, is about that same size. The actual dragon, I can't actually compare anything to the scale of this thing. But it has his own version of books, giant slates of written knowledge, and he is researching ruin and the ways that the Wachtturm could possibly be shattered. And I warned them about the whole vision of all of them being killed by ruin.
Wait. So it's a
It's also kind of the one who posited that there might be a scion of ruin around that we could possibly pass the rune on to.
Huh?
It's
I feel like a lot is happening.
There's a possibility that Ruin might be able to move to another person who we might actually be able to talk to.
Mm.
it's they weren't always incarnate ruins. At one time, they were people, and likely they had families and children before they went mad. Those
Ruin had
bloodlines
a
could still,
baby.
and that bloodline could. We don't know how. He's also, I think, trying to figure out how we could possibly track that down better. But it's an option if we can pass the actual mantle of ruin on from the current ruin to a new one. If nothing else, we could reset the clock on the whole "I want to destroy the world" thing.
That is true.
wait, like sort of like what Odin does.
Kind of, yeah.
Can see to their own death, and then there's a new Odin.
So that's
Well-
what we were working on.
Also, the horrifying monsters that have been written about through all of ice and history are fucking babies. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Len? Said-
Yeah. Well, remember,
Whoa.
remember they told
What?
told us about the dragon that originally like ate entire chunks of islands and caused
The one in the mirror scene?
Oh, the
Yeah.
one that
So
made
those are
Valhalla.
the real dragons. There's also some stuff about the gods and travel from yet another higher realm, but that's still working on that.
How many more worlds are there going to be?
Speaking of
Ugh.
Doom hot potato.
Oh.
speaking of travel, Gris has been recaptured. Is Ingvild here?
I think she stepped out when Brandy and Sora did. Like it because she took that as like this is a council meeting.
Damn, it would. Okay. The ones that need to know will find out again later. Briss has been recaptured and is now aboard Kiridan's ship. And so is Charlotte. She is not bound, but she does not have her boots on her. I'd assume that they're somewhere on the ship. The ship is still at the port. I know where the port is. And two are the only ones that can the GM question. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all of the information, but the brain beats are buzzing.
So you have the
She has
crescent
the drawing
sigils?
in her back pocket. This was on Charlotte's forehead in blood. I have no idea what she was saying because it was all in crescent. But I did manage to.
Henri, you don't need a roll to translate those. The crescent word, because you're fluent in crescent. The crescent words that have been put on her forehead are whore and witch.
Not inaccurate. It says whore and witch. Sorry, Senora. Apologizing to Beatrice for the word.
So Runa, it seems that Charlotte is not in good standing with this. Sorry, is that,
Kieran.
oh, this is
I
a
would
wicked name with this accent.
I would say
It is a
not.
difficult name to say with that accent.
But
Those-
like I said,
Don't seem complimentary. As far as I know, they're not in Crescent culture.
I mean, yeah, certainly not here.
they do look down upon sorcery.
They also look down on like prostitution almost as much.
That too. But she's a master of Porte. She could get out of there at any time if she wanted. And I'm sure her sword is blooded to her.
Tell me more about how she, like, the circumstances that she was in, please.
You need me to recount it?
No,
She was in a
Yes.
I remember. Oh,
Okay.
She
Go
was
ahead.
in a brig and one that was like locked from the outside, but it wasn't designed to be a brig. It was put to that use. But it was a private room.
And where is this?
On Kiradin's ship
Which
What-
is in Crescent Lands.
in Crescent Lands.
Do you know where the
on the
ship-
dock, which is strange.
Do you know where the dock is?
Yes.
Can we?
And what Vodachi family?
The
Bernoulli.
Bernoulli family has permission to trade with the Crescents.
From what I know, the Bernoulli family is allowed to trade with the Crescents, so they would know how to get there, I'd assume. But I don't know much about them.
The what Gerald said was that the Bernoulli family has permission to,
Has permission.
but every
okay.
Vodachi family knows how to.
Right.
They're just not allowed to. They
what
can't
I know
because
is the
they're Vodachi.
Bernoulli family has permission to trade with Crescent.
Gerard steps up behind Honor and places a hand on her shoulder. Not alone.
Say that again.
Not alone.
Grazie, Gerard.
Certainly not alone.
She's on the ship, and this Kiradin has something she wants, or somebody is coming to meet that has something she wants.
Well, and she's done something more than just display her magic. She must have done something else to have both of those marks on her.
Last time I looked in on Gris before this, she was flirting with the man pretty heavily.
Gav has question that might produce answers, might produce squawking. What if we tell her husband of this? Find out how much he actually knows in exchange for rescuing her wife, his wife. And he kind of like looks over to Honorine, knowing that she's got the most personal experience with the man, having actually spoken to him on occasion. Do you think he would be a man who would care? Who would be leveraged by this information?
He's extremely honor bound. Every time I've met this man, he's been nothing but gracious and mannerly. And he offered himself up for arrest in Charlotte's stead as a matter of honor. If he is as he seems, I think he would be moved by it.
It would give us more information on her operation, at least.
If he knows anything.
Da. But also, we would be able to investigate unhindered.
All right. Well, let's go talk to a ceramics
So-
man.
Is there a way for maybe Charlotte to be looking back on us or something?
Not here.
And I'm just in general with the magics she's capable of. That's beyond me mostly.
It is entirely possible that with the, just like the crystals have for sorcery, they have a way to prevent the use of it when they imprison a witch.
Was there a mirror where she was
Not that I saw.
in her room?
Not that I saw.
Hmm.
Or did I? You would have mentioned it. You would have mentioned it.
Didn't see one.
No.
Then
And
there's
is-
nothing keeping her there.
As to the
Exactly.
listener, she is still C2C, and you are used to using your charms and quotes, mademoiselle. Put yourself in the mindset of the Crescent, and seeing a woman using such skill. After all, your cousins have made the members of Freeburg uncomfortable, and they are not known for being brutes.
I would not use the term uncomfortable.
There is a knock on Runa's door.
I will answer.
Yeah. Dietrich Proust is there. He says, I apologize for the intrusion. I went to the playhouse as
Oh boy.
is Gav here and
He
Hans.
is.
He
Yes.
says there's something of an emergency, and I would speak to the both of them.
Gav stands, looks to Beatrice. By your leave, lady.
And Honorine will kind of gesture to Rosa and be like, we should make sure, can you make sure that she gets back to Jeanette?
Jeanette. Yeah, Jeanette Marie. So I think Runa, you have to get going, right? So
Yeah.
we'll have
I
your
I just
escorting
don't
Beatrice
wanna
back.
go.
We miss you.
Meanwhile, Honorine, I think Honorine and Gerard, if Gerard is interested in going, will probably go talk to go see a man about a bitch.
So Gavin, the Dietrich doesn't pull Gavin Hans like far away, but he does keep his like voice lower. He says there is a concern in despair. He says one of the Knights of the Rosencross who regularly attends to those with illness in the tent city is showing signs of an illness. It says the wasting is normally confined to within Heelgren lands. It says it's something we believe to be environmental. It says, but there are signs of it here, and he has begun to show signs of it. It says, I do not believe it to be contractable.
From what I know, actually no. Is the wasting related to the Verschlingen that we know?
Mhm.
It is.
That has been the assumption because it has only struck people in Heelgren, and they've had a Verschlingen there that's old and big.
They have the giant one there.
We slayed the Verschlingen in the sewers. That is how the Herdenwald came. If the toxins are being spread somehow.
He says, understand that there have been members from Hilgard Lands with the wasting that have been here for some time. They normally begin to recover. What I'm saying is that my knight who was tending them is showing signs.
Duh. Which means it is spreading somehow.
We didn't get both oh wait, I'm not there.
But you're saying it is not contagious in as far as you know, yeah?
He says
But
there
we
there are
know that
two
there were two.
there are two
Yeah.
problems. One, it is normally not known to be contagious, but if it begins to spread, it may cause a panic.
Yeah.
It says the memories of the White Plague are not far from our memories ever.
No. It's a second.
Does the man still live?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's ill, he's been sequestered.
Can he speak?
He nods.
Answer questions?
He says the wasting is a slow process. He says months of slow dying. He says in some rare cases, and like he says, some persist with symptoms for years. He says, but don't seem to spread them any further.
Must
And
speak to
this
him.
man has not been in Hilgrad lands recently, duh?
He shakes his head.
Has he been in the sewers?
Scheiße.
I have not asked about that.
Must be the second one then. So there was still one for Schlingen that
Duh.
it got away, yeah.
There were two that were created.
He says, I didn't know if this was a matter for the council in general, he says, but it certainly seemed to matter for both
Gav looks down.
the assembly and for the marshal.
Gav looks down at his hand. He's like, the Verschlingen always concerns me, Herr Proust. It is my It's like it is my wish to see them all destroyed. And if I do it to my own hand, I will ensure it.
I have a responsibility about the wasting, though, to bring it to the attention of the rest of the assembly. He says, I wanted to let you know first, though.
The two are connected, so yes, I see it as important.
Yeah.
He says, I can bring the both of you to speak to the man. And we're gonna do that kind of quick. It's not a particularly like productive session. Like you guys saw what Hilgren was like kind of at the point where he was like, it was painful to move. He clearly needed assistance, like in a horse, like that kind of thing. Like this knight who probably yesterday was like in his, or a few days ago was in his 20s, like picture of health and stuff like that. He looks like a war veteran who hasn't eaten in weeks.
Oof.
His skin is pale. It looks like it's like falling off of his bones.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, Gav's asking just a couple of simple questions. Have you been anywhere like near where the Verschlingen was in the sewers? Like, have you been to the sewers? Like, where have you been around?
Yeah, and he basically describes having been almost all over the city because he works in different sections of despair, so he just crosses through it wherever. He doesn't take the sewers to get anywhere, but he does take water from like whatever's in his route.
So he hasn't been down there.
Perhaps it is taken to nesting somewhere.
Yeah, he starts asking environmental questions about despair. Like, is like the water soured recently? Is there like any places that
These specific locations that are like
yeah
that are starting to show signs as well?
He does mention that he did use some of the water that was provided by the Verschlingen in treating some injuries. Or not provided by the Verschlingen, provided by despair, like the people that are in it, like from their own water skins, from what they had on hand, rather than like going in the city and like pulling buckets. He just took what they had and treated them. So a question I want to have, I think the only person who's actually tracked Verschlingen is Len. So if you guys want to cut him in on this at some point.
Yeah, he will, but I mean, Gav's got the hands-on experience.
Yes.
And so yeah, it's like I am tracking things in the city is not the same as tracking things outside of it. Len is accomplished hunter, so I will ask him for assistance in this.
I actually want Gav to make a city navigation roll to look for any virtually insides in the city. Len can make a hunting roll for outside of the city. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to cut to Honorine and Gerard, who are going to DeRosen's, right?
Yes.
We,
Um, the guard are not in the same kind of like frame of resistance. Like when Honorine and Gerard show up, one of the guards kind of says, "The Lord of the House uh, asked us to let you in if you return."
Thank you. Will you let him know
There's
we're here?
definitely there is definitely like a mood over them. Does that make sense?
Is it resentment? Is it
It, uh, uncertainty.
So 49, because of the
Okay.
three dots in exploit weakness or tracking. Yeah, exploit weakness.
I'm gonna cut
Whatever,
back to the both of you in a minute.
Yeah.
So, all right. The it's uncertainty. Like they are seeing something that they have not seen before from their lord, and they don't quite know what to do about it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
lords are in general fairly predictable. You know, they know their proclivities, they know their, so when your
the boss is
lord
being weird?
does shit that you're not used to, it shakes everybody up. Like,
Yeah.
and the same is kind of true of like the servants. You know, they're dancing around a little skittishly. Um, the normal sort of processes of like, you know, greeting people, you know, like what can I take your coats, etc. It's all happening, but it's like out of order. Like there's one seneschal that's kind of like trying to see if they'd like something to drink, while others are still trying to get their coats and, you know, get them into the house. Um, it's very disordered. And as the servants bring them within, they bring them into the library that Len had broken into and Honorine had pilfered with Hans. And in the time that Gerard saw Charlotte with DeRozan, and in the times that Honorine has spoken to him, neither of you have ever seen him drunk. And he is plastered. And spread across the table of the room that he's in are ledgers upon ledgers upon ledgers.
Honorin's gonna kind of glance at Gerard to sort of get a bead on like how he's reacting, because if he's like tensing up or anything like that, she's gonna kind of follow his lead.
at the moment, Gerard is more confused because he's never seen the man like this.
And Honorin's going to. Is he passed out drunk?
No, he's conscious.
Okay. So Honorin's going to go up to him and kind of greet him like she normally would greet somebody of high status in the city, like a little bit like cautiously about it, but she's gonna observe the formalities. Good evening. Thank you for seeing us. Very sorry about last time.
So he says, "Can I offer you both a drink?"
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
He says, "I have harbored a murderess." As he starts to like pour, and you see he just like he pours one cup and then he keeps the pour going to the cup that's next to it, but there's like several inches between them, and like, you know, like whatever it is he's pouring just sort of spills across the table. And he has like the very drunken reaction of kind of trying to like pick the journal up and like move it to like some safety.
She's gonna
before
like
he
kind
just-
of take the uh mind blanking bottle. She's gonna take the bottle from him and kind of set it down on the table. And Thank you.
She just a moment before Gerard's hand does as well.
they're both just like, the journals.
He says
What thought about the journals? It's about stopping the man from embarrassing himself.
That's
he
guess.
he kind of like puts his hand and he says he touches one of the journals. He says 112, and then he touches the next one. He says 74. He's I I put all of the math together. He says of all the years. He says and 825. He says of men and women and children. He says under my family's name, gone.
Elrosen. None of which is your fault.
He says, it is my family. He says, my name. He says, my honor. And he says, and if I was a proper Eisen, he says, with proper steel, he says, you would have found me with my blood all over these. And he kind of, like, he reaches for, like, a knife that's sitting on the table and it's still sheathed.
Gerard pushes it down.
He says, I was not strong enough.
Elrosen. It takes a stronger man to face such adversity and stand up to it than it does to flee permanently. Charlotte was a manipulator, is a manipulator. You are nothing more than a man, as am I. It hurts, this pain she has inflicted on both of us. But there are ways to heal from such pain, and there are ways to regain one's name and honor. And in death, you can do neither.
He says, but in death, he says, my line can end.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
He says, but in death, my line can end. He says, my family's name can be stripped from Eisen. He says, and we deserve it.
And with such an end, your name ends with this fate. With an heir, with life, your family name can once again be strong.
He says, I deserve to be imprisoned for the rest of my years.
That is not for you or me to make a decision on. That is a decision for Isaac, but not in this moment.
He says, it is what is deserved. He says, my servants, he says, my staff here, he says, he says, for none of them, they were not involved in this. None of them have been a party to this. He says, but I have names of those who were. He says, names of those who knew to hunt for the right people for Charlotte. He
There,
says,
Wilson, is where you start reclaiming your name.
He shakes his head. He says, I am turning it over to you. He says, I am turning over to the city. He says, my estate. He says, my wealth. He says, my lands, my title. I am unwilling to bear any of them.
Will you help us?
I will give you all that I have, and you are welcome to all that is here. Says is every piece of proof in her own hand. Says under my roof, under my name.
Mademoiselle, if you would like to begin gathering the journals and the names, I will escort Herr Rosen to a place where he can recover, and this can be discussed properly.
He says, there is coin in the chest there. He says, if you will make sure the servants have enough for a year's pay. They do not deserve to starve in the winter because of my foolishness or her cruelty. And they have certainly endured enough of the latter.
Your household will be taken care of.
He rises and like sways as he does, and he puts a hand to Honorin's shoulder. He says, you have always been very kind to me.
I think you've always been worth being kind to.
He says, I hope you find a suitor who is as kind as you.
She's gonna hold him up for as long as she can, like help Sherrod hold him up and walk him out. And so
Yeah, and the guards kind of like when they see them walking them out, he does address the guards. He says, I am going, he says, to turn myself in. He says, for my wife's crimes, you are to be compensated, he says, but there is no quarrel here.
Honoring, before Sherrod can fully disappear with him, she's going to kind of say to him, like, would you mind sending some of the city guard over just in case the household guards get rowdy?
Wait, and when you speak to the Central, make sure they understand to keep the house running as if the master will return tomorrow.
Yes. Of course.
Come along, Rosen. And I will escort him like the gentleman that he is, not a criminal in cuffs.
There are a few times that like Gerard can see his eyes linger on bridges as they pass and the waters below.
I will gently guide him. We are not going to the city jail. We are going to the brew house.
To the where?
The brew house.
Bearhausen?
Wait. I'm going to give him an opportunity to sober up, or he is not in a cell.
Yeah, it's possible to kind of get him there into a place that he can basically post a guard over him. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that he's not gonna do anything to himself. Who are they notifying? Anybody?
Logan.
I will notify the watch that are under my command and ask that they send a detail to help Honorine.
She's gonna have a note delivered to Logan Seeger, like, can you please come here?
A quick note on propriety. It's probably not appropriate for the guard from Finehearth to go there, but it is perfectly appropriate for the guard from the city center to go there because they are very distinct districts. But the captain that is at the city center has jurisdiction technically over all the other ones. So,
And that's
it-
Proust, isn't it? Or not Proust.
no, that's Visaya. I don't
yeah,
have his
Vasia
name.
Wilhelm.
Vasia Wilhelm. And he is very well reputed for his honor. So he's somebody that Gerard can trust to like not take advantage of the situation. We are going to go a little bit late if that's okay with everybody. I know some people got early days, but I'm thinking only like 10 more minutes. So
I
that's
will,
good.
I will also drop a coin to one of the local orphans that are hanging around. I said it earlier and now I can't get out. The Citizen's Manor. Oof,
So-
why am I having trouble with that today?
Size to size.
Thank you, size to size. To go to the Rosen Manor and keep an eye on Honorine.
Yeah, there's no problem getting some people to like keep an eye on her. The guard don't actually seem to have something against her. Like they have the sense of like they have been periphery to something big and horrific, and they don't have the details yet. They're not assuming that it's Honorine's fault.
It's not the Rosen House Guard that I'm concerned with. There are still elements that I don't have control over loose in this city. And I am not there to guard her. I want eyes that I can trust to be on her.
Yeah, she's going to have a brute squad. So, so let me. I'm going to go kind of quick and get through. So Gav and Len, through various degrees of their prowess at tracking, both come to the same conclusion at about the same time. For Gav, it's finding small patches of what would normally be grass and weeds and whatnot sticking up between rubble and whatnot, that he instead is like, I've seen a mushroom like that before. I've seen fungus. And it's growing against like the wall that started to be erected. It's growing in small patches near houses. It's not in Finehearth, but it is inside of the city. And for Len, what he finds is 4 trails going out of the city that bear the same corruption that he saw when the Verschlingen left before. He was capable of tracking them by the path they left behind. There are 4 of them, and they're small. They're the size of like when the Verschlingen first appeared.
They're babies.
But there's a quartet of them.
And it looks like they left or they came back, or you can't tell.
That's hard to tell, but his instinct is that it's that they were leaving.
But that means there's probably still the one we didn't kill around here that laid them.
The one that you didn't kill went north into Posenlands
Oh,
a long while
Oh.
ago.
We didn't know that. We just knew about the one. There were 2, and one of them went into the city. That's all.
One, yeah, no, Len had tracked it. I did mention in a
Oh,
previous
yep.
one that you guys had like put it on a to-do list of like we got to go figure out what happened to that one. And I'd had Len. He saw that it crossed over into like the swamps in Posenland that were like rife with monsters. But then stuff broke out with Posen. So
yeah, that very quickly became a Posen problem.
okay.
But now well, we're gonna have to put some eyes on these trails.
All right. So I just got notice we really got to close out now.
Yeah.
So I know some people didn't get a particularly long spotlight tonight, so let's do some quick RP awards. You can nominate Runa even though she's not here.
Gerard.
Gerard.
Gerard, definitely.
Yeah, mine's
Definitely.
for Gerard.
Do we have a second
And-
nomination?
Arthur?
Yeah, mine goes to Arthur and the casualty of his fake connections.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like the whole bit
I've
with-
got there's
like
a
the
coin
coins
that
and
people
stuff.
started over wars over and such. Yeah, I know, I've got that. Well, why?
It's just so chill for him. Like,
Look, I'm
Plus
keeping
the
you out of
whole-
enemy hands. That's the entire point of the thing.
Plus the whole interaction between him,
Alright,
Logan,
cool.
and Hans. That was really cute. I like that too. So yeah, Arthur and
I did like that I got to smack you in the face with like, so what are your connections and
That was funny too.
So, all right. So I'm going to read this out real quick and get us out of here. And thank you guys for being here tonight. This is the official first time we've all been together. All right. Thank you for everyone watching us on YouTube or live on Twitch. Audience participation always means the world to us. And if you're on YouTube, smash the like, hit the subscribe, and make a comment in the down below. Here at Dirty 20, we always sign out with the same call to action. Be nice. Be kind when you have the spoons, but even when you're not, be nice. Be nice to strangers, be nice to family, be nice to your loved ones, and be nice to yourself. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and we will see you next time.
And come see us on Tuesday.
Bye.
Good night.
Yes.